So, I read Watchmen. I'm not doing a video about that just yet. I plan to do that when I watch the movie version, and I don't have the DVD Blu-ray 4K set because it's at home and I'm on vacation. But I will say I do like Watchmen, but you will know my deeper thoughts in it when I watch the movie and then do a compare and contrast to see which is kept faithful and which is not, because a lot of people always viewed Watchmen as that movie that you can't adapt. So, the idea of a Watchmen sequel to many people was weird. Like, here's some background details on the road to Doomsday Clock. In 1985, Alan Moore stated that he and Dave Gibson, I believe he's the artist, the illustrator, yeah, had discussed doing a prequel series to Watchmen entitled Minutemen, based around the team of the same name. If the original proved successful, while Dave Gibbons remained open to the possibility, Alan Moore ultimately declined. Other proposed spin-offs and prequels were vetoed equally adamantly by Alan Moore, who believed Watchmen should remain a standalone story. The dispute over the rights to Watchmen between Moore and DC Comics ultimately meant that any future material produced from Watchmen as a franchise would be done without the original creator. Okay, I can understand Alan Moore's desire to believe that it should be a standalone. Like, that's a rarity in comics nowadays, because nowadays everyone wants to franchise off of something. If you make a popular comic, that's going to be a franchise. And of course, if Watchmen did get a sequel, then it would have been one of the much bigger deal to people, because it would be the one comic book that never got a sequel. And really, fan fiction's around, so people can make their own interpretations on that. So, yeah. In 2010, DC Comics actually offered the rights to Watchmen back to Alan Moore and Dave Gibson, in exchange for his cooperation in expanding Watchmen into a larger universe. Alan Moore vehemently declined any continuation of the Watchmen in any capacity, while Gibbons expressed his support at new creators getting to work on the property, leading to the publication of the Before Watchmen line of comics in 2012, written by a team of different writers and creators. The line was met with a mixed response. I can understand that. I haven't read the Before Watchmen comics, probably because I feel like doing a prequel and just trying to get your foot across on this after this very detailed world where an alternative history of superhuman meta people or superheroes change the fate of so many things throughout history and become pawns of the government. So, eventually, after several years of disappointing sales due to the failures of the New 52 and the DCU initiative, DC decided to return to its roots with the mainstream DC universe, DC Rebirth, which introduced the Watchmen to the broader DC universe by hinting at Dr. Manhattan's involvement in restructuring of time and space, which followed DC's Flashpoint event. Rebirth proved to be a runaway success. Following the United States presidential election and a number of other events in like 2016, Jeff Johns, CCO and president of DC Comics, finalized a story for a sequel to Watchmen and conclusion of the DC Rebirth initiative, Doomsday Clock. Yeah, when you decide to make politics into this, I was like, I don't really know about that. But when I had read DC Rebirth, I checked that out, the one shot, and I saw Dr. Manhattan, but then before that I had watched Linkar's Flashpoint review video, which was funny. I was like, so Dr. Manhattan kept the comedian's button, the iconic button, he kept it? Like, what was it for? That always bugged me. Like, I was wondering if Doomsday Clock was going to answer why that button was there, other than it being there because it's an iconic moment from the Watchmen universe. So, yeah. The series opens up on November 22nd or 23rd of 1992, 7 years after the conclusion of Watchmen. After Watchmen, during the ending of Watchmen, Ozymandias did a basically mass genocide technique to fear the world into peace. Yeah. So, yeah. I'll get to that, but I will just say this. When he screams that, I did it! I was like, hooray! You murder 3 million people just to scare the world into peace. Why are you cheering about this? In fact, you should just be grimacely smiling like Thanos, wondering, I've done it. But smiling like you're ecstatic that you did this is kind of messed up. And his Ozymandias' plan is revealed at the end of the story of Watchmen, where it's revealed that Rorschach's journal is put in play, is put in this newspaper, in the frontiersman, and we are left to open it to interpretation of what would lead to that event if it's revealed. However, DC said, no, we gotta make an answer to that, even though Alan Moore probably hates it. So, yeah, after it's published and after many years of investigation, and it's revealed that this whole event that happened at the end of Watchmen was a whole elaborate hoax created by Ozymandias to scare the public into peace, the world is thrust back into chaos, and even worse. And now a global manhunt is underway for Ozymandias. And while relations between the United States of America and the former Soviet Union turned Russian Federation are at their lowest ebb over the year relations, with each suspecting the other of conspiring with him. Well, they got that one right. Politics nowadays is resulting in blaming each other for something that is probably beyond their control. Oh, wait, I'm talking about the government shutdowns that happened this year. Yeah, that could be completely on everyone's fault. So, yeah, protesters assembled outside of the main building of his former company, and a riot breaks out, and the police aren't able to prevent this protest from ransacking the building, where they find Ozymandias has disappeared. And then we get these various news reports going ahead, turning to different moments, revealing that all independent news networks in the United States are going offline, and a new national news network will be coming online at 6. One of the journalists of Union Broadcasting Service demands the people rise up before the network is shut down. During this period of silence, we notice there's a skull with a cancerous tumor on it, like a large cancerous mass in someone's skull. It shows it's Ozymandias' skull, and the national news network comes online, anchored by William F. Buckley Jr., who says that Russia has invaded Poland, and the president, Robert Redford, has given them 4 hours to withdraw their troops, or the United States will launch a full retaliatory strike. Mandatory evacuation orders are issued for all major U.S. cities. So, yeah, they're bringing more of the real world into this. Then we go to New York, and at a prison, the guards are evacuating and leaving prisoners to die. And then, eventually, we see Rorschach. And I was like, what? Yeah, because at the end of Watchmen, Rorschach was going to reveal it himself to the public of what Ozymandias has done, believing that regardless of what the intention was, this is still mass murder. The people deserve to know the truth. Yeah, not a good idea, especially in a situation like this, as delicate as it is. And Rorschach then comes to realize, yeah, I want to tell people, I can't be trusted with this. You're going to have to kill me. And Dr. Manhattan basically fries him. And that led to people wondering, who is this Rorschach? Did Dr. Manhattan bring him back? Or did Dr. Manhattan come back? Because he left at the end of the first book. So Rorschach steals the guard's keys, and the prisoner fully declines of being released because Rorschach is a very powerful man in terms of intimidation factors. And then he finds 2 criminals, Marinette and her husband. Let's see. Mime. Before, where he eventually tells them that there's a reward for them if they do this job for him and the guy who paid him. Then, yeah, then we'll locate your son. It's revealed that Rorschach, this new one, is an African American. We'll learn about that later on. And promising a reunion if she complies. She is adamant, however, they rescue her husband before leaving, which Rorschach reluctantly agrees to, then wonders where the guns were. And then they head for New York City, where basically everything's gone to hell. People are evacuating and people are being left behind, being told, do not bring your personal essentials. So, yeah. They make their way to the sewers, finding their way to the Night Owl's base. When they arrive, however, it's not Night Owl who was waiting for them, but Ozymandias. Night Owl is retired, and the two members of the Watchmen, Night Owl and his would-be love interest, I'm trying to remember her name, they're not in this series yet. They might show up later. I don't know how though, but yeah. And Ozymandias reveals that the job for them, after confessing that what he's done was a horrible mistake and wished he could have fixed it, and also done with his world peace thing, but not through the mass genocide, he reveals that he has a tumor and he's gonna die eventually. Yeah, in the DC universe, considering what's gonna happen, that's not gonna work out so well. So, and there's only 2 hours left before nuclear war begins, Ozymandias reveals that the job is to find Dr. Manhattan and return him to this Earth so that he can stop this. Yeah, I don't know how that's gonna happen. In Metropolis, we go to the DC universe, and Superman has a nightmare of the night his parents died in a car crash when he was young. And I was like, wait, okay, I'm not a complete expert in comics, but I could have sworn the New 52 and the old DC universe were like their own timeline or something like that. It's complicated. Comics are confusing to explain, especially DC and Marvel. But I don't think his parents are dead. If they are, this is the first time hearing of it. Or is this the New 52 Superman hearing this, and this is the original Superman? But anyways, he eventually is screaming and unwillingly floats off the bed in a panic before being calmed by his wife Lois. Where in the New 52, they're not married, and he's interested in Wonder Woman. Yeah, anyways. She says she can't remember the last time he had a nightmare when he explains what happened, and then he reveals that until now he never had a nightmare. And I was like, okay, what's causing this then? Is it Dr. Manhattan? If so, then that's kind of a confusing thing. Is he trying to find pleasure in this? Okay. So we see Mind and Marionette reapply their costumes while Rorschach and Ozymandias review the footage in the second issue, Places We Have Never Known. The first issue was, I believe it was called That Annihilated Place. In this second issue, the duo attempted to rob a government bank. Dr. Manhattan intervened, and a standout between he and Mind ensued. Just as Dr. Manhattan was just about to go kill them, Marionette threw herself in a way, demanding that she die first if he was going to die with it. Manhattan, seemingly sensing that she was pregnant, relented and retreated as the authorities arrived. Ozymandias wishes to use that moment to remind Manhattan of his inherent humanity and leverage his assistance. The footage blanks out as the nuclear war erupts. The group follows a trail of electrons left by Manhattan aboard the Owl ship, using the quantum tunneling, narrowly escaping the destruction of New York City. Yeah, here's the thing. If the bombs are dropping now, does that mean they've already failed before it could begin? Or are they just going to have Dr. Manhattan just reboot the entire Watchmen universe with them remembering all this? So, in Gotham City, back in the DC universe, as the Watchmen universe is now facing inherent destruction, Bruce Wayne is undergoing psychological examinations at the request of Wayne Enterprises' board of directors, who want to assure that he is healthy and fit to lead the company. As they are currently embroiled in a heated game of corporate warfare with LexCorp over the metagene, a part of human DNA which is believed to be a catalyst for superhuman abilities. It's a secret that's been both coveted and controversial, as the Machiavellian scientist Dr. Hagen Jace has recently stirred international tensions by proposing what she calls the Superman theory, which basically means that the United States government is manufacturing both superheroes and supervillains to maintain the global dominance and cultural hegemony that have enjoyed since the end of World War II. Accusations have been leveled at superhero Metamorpho as well as supervillain Man-Bat, whose origins have newly leaked government connections, though their credibility is quite questionable. And now, Yeah. Now the world is also falling apart in the DC universe, basically just like the Watchmen universe, but on a more metahuman scale and a less nuclear weapon scale, because the governments of the world are trying to produce their own metahumans. Now, protesters have lost faith in Batman and are demanding that he publicly unmask, as he has always been one of the more unaccountable vigilantes. Only Superman himself has been considered above suspicion, as his origins are well documented and his actions speak for themselves. The theory frightens the Russian Federation, who allies themselves with Makarov amidst the fear of a superhuman arms race. The Doomsday clock is set to 3 minutes to midnight as global tension rises. Yeah, so basically it looks like the DC universe and the Watchmen universe are going to self-destruct on each other. Wayne meets Lucius Fox, head of R&D and manufacturer of the equipment utilized by the Batman. A Batman. He then expresses his concerns that the board may sell the company to LexCorp, and Wayne is deemed not fit to run the company, which would place not only the managing research currently in the hands of Lex Luthor, but also expose Batman to the public. Bruce dismisses his concerns and continues the war on crime. Then the Owl ship crashes at an abandoned amusement park elsewhere in Gotham, rendering the crew unconscious. Ozymandias is the first to awaken and rouses Rorschach, who at first forgets the agreement forged between the two to find Dr. Manhattan and attempts murder. He's quickly returned to his senses and assists Ozymandias in securing Mime and Marionette, who are determined to be too big of a risk at the moment to allow to roam free. They leave to gather information on where they land, passing by a television in an electronics store, playing a marathon of Nathaniel Dusk films. They research the world at a nearby library, familiarizing themselves with the history and current events, noticing that some of the heroes present were fictional characters in their world. Here's the thing. In the Watchmen universe, it's shown and hinted at, and they even say it, that there is a Superman and other characters from the DC universe, where in the Watchmen universe, it's explained that they are comic book characters, which leads to a popular theory going around, and I'll get to that at the end of this video. So, yeah. They believe that Dr. Manhattan may have created them and might even be hiding among them. They also recognize Lex Luthor and Bruce Wayne as the two most prominent and intelligent men on the planet, meaning that they represent the best opportunity to find Dr. Manhattan. Ozymandias goes to seek the aid of Lex Luthor, and while Rorschach goes after Wayne, Maya and Marionette escape the confinements to get a drink in the city of Gotham. And we all know where this is going to go. So, okay. In Wayne Manor, Rorschach finds a plate of pancakes prepared by Wayne's faithful butler, Alfred Pennyworth, which he eats. Doing so inadvertently leads Rorschach to discover a draft pulling through the room. Leading to a clock on the far end of the room, pulling it aside, he descends his staircase and discovers the Batcave, tripping a silent alarm, summoning Batman in the process. Having just defeated Mad Hatter and his minions Tweedledee and Tweedledum. At LexCorp, Lex Luthor's research on the metagene is slow going and providing little in the way of results. He is rapidly hiring and firing staff for failing to meet his expectations. Yeah, here's the thing I found out. I had to look this up. Lex Luthor, while he's still Lex Luthor, he's not a villain right now. Oh, that could change, and he does hate Superman, but he's not a villain at the moment. Yeah, I don't know. So, anyways, Luthor has apparently been perpetrating the Superman theory to further his own vendetta against superheroes and Superman in particular. He finds Ozymandias waiting in his office, admiring a painting on his wall, who suggests they share ambitions and insists them to be the two smartest people in their respective worlds. Luthor deems he might be crazy. Yeah, I have a hard time wondering why Luthor, out of everybody in the DC universe, believes that he's crazy, because I must stress this is the universe where there are 52 universes. 53 if you count the New 52 universe. And then Luthor just decides, you know what, I'll humor you, just tell me what you want. And while he does appear to believe the story, he does not consider it to be his problem, which is understandable, but really, Ozymandias could offer something in relation to this. Like, if Ozymandias is, quote, the smartest man in his world, maybe he has the key to know the metagene research. So, anyways, then someone strikes Luther in the chest, incapacitating him, meant for Ozymandias. He turns to see who the attacker is, and it was possibly the biggest twist in the entire comic so far. The comedian returned from death and eager to take his revenge. Revenge, the most worthless of causes. Yeah, when I was reading this, I was like, wait, how? Does that mean... wait. But wait, then where did the... If he was... Okay. Here's the thing. A flashback in Not Victory Nor Defeat, it's revealed that after he was falling off of his fateful fall from the apartment window, he suddenly disappeared just before he hit the ground. Blake instead lands in the ocean outside of Gotham and swims to shore where Dr. Manhattan greets him, dropping the button in the sand as the comedian demands to know where they are and what they're doing there. Yeah, here's the thing. I was wondering, like, okay, so wait, does Dr. Manhattan have the ability to go forward and backwards through time? That, like I was reading, what was it? I want to say Comics Explained. He was explaining Doomsday Clock at this part where he says he can't go through time. He doesn't know the past, present, or future. Like, he can perceive time, able to take a guess, but there's only even he has limitations, as shown in Watchmen, where he can't find the certain events unfolding in the way he thinks it's going to go. But I was wondering throughout this entire thing is, so wait, that contradicts the Watchmen story to an extent, because, like, so wait, my only guess, and this is just a guess, is that what Dr. Manhattan did isn't save the comedian, he duplicated him into the DC universe with all his memories intact, and knowing what happened, but he left a copy behind to die. That's my guess, at least. Multiverse theory is confusing. And this does lead to the multiverse theory. I'll get to that in a moment. I'll get to that when I finish when I go over the other chapters. But Ozymandias and the comedian battle it out in the darkness. And the comedian is sober and gains an upper hand as the cancer in Ozymandias is basically almost killed, but he's saved from sharing Blake's initial fate when he is thrown against the window, only to fully reinforced glass to refuse to break. Realizing he's unmatched, Ozymandias turns off the light, shatters the window, and uses his acrobatic skills to leap from the rooftop to safety. However, his new perch gives way and he falls to the ground, injured but alive. The comedian disappears while Ozymandias and Luthor are hospitalized for their injuries. In a retirement community, senior citizens are bickering over the control of the television because that's really important, with one lamenting the loss of real heroes like Theodore Roosevelt and Sergeant Rock, and declaring the only one they can trust is Superman. Johnny Thunder, the last of the survivors of the Justice Society of America. So, yeah, this is from the old days, before when the Crisis on Infinite Earths happened. I don't know the full details on these characters, so I'm going to have to do more research. Is seen looking out onto the rainy street, waiting for someone he says never comes. Mine and Marionette make their way to the bar near the amusement park, analyzing the situation they found themselves in. When they walk in, they are greeted by a number of thugs who take offense to their Atari as the territory belongs to the Joker. Yeah, I called it. And one of them threatens Marionette because she does not know who that is, because that's the cardinal sin. Mime reveals that the items he had been miming are real, but invisible to the human eye. His guns become visible when he kills the thugs, and he and Marionette slaughter the rest before getting a drink and deciding to go find the Joker. Yeah, I kept thinking, like, okay, so you brought these in because you just wanted to get an excuse to get the Joker involved? I'm like, the Joker's awesome, but there can be a story without the Joker needed. Like, what does he have to do with Dr. Manhattan in the long run? That was just my wondering. And then we see Rorschach is confronted by Batman, and their interaction when they first meet is just hilarious. Like, You ate my breakfast. Yeah, I did. I was like, okay, so let's see if I get this straight. DC Comics does know how to put humor even in the darkest moments, but the DCEU can't do that. Conundrum, isn't it? Anyways, Batman demands that he leaves, which is a stupid idea because now that he knows who he is, that's basically a death sentence. Rorschach tries to explain the situation before deciding to simply hand him the original Rorschach's journal and let him read the details for himself. Batman, having had a long day already, takes his time and offers Rorschach a place to rest and clean up. He accepts it, though is uncomfortable with the luxuries he's offered because his life is very chaotic, so to speak. While in the shower, blood runs down his face as he finally tries to scrub himself clean, and he later starts a nightmare of the New York City massacre. He is roused by Batman, who reveals that he has completed the journal, claims to have found Dr. Manhattan in Arkham Asylum. The two breach the facility together, where they trace Manhattan's signature to the Manhattan's empty cell. Rorschach enters believing Manhattan to be inside, only for Batman to lock him inside. He apologizes and departs, with Rorschach threatening, begging, and screaming out to be let out of the cell, saying that you belong here. And I was wondering, oh, so I guess I could claim Linkara's statement of Bat Dick. Because, okay, why is everyone in the universe stupid lately? Yeah, this is one question I've been having. Why is Batman and Lex Luthor, who are supposed to be the two smartest people on the planet, having a hard time believe that these two people are from another universe? Why is that so hard to grasp? It just confuses me for no reason. Like, did Dr. Manhattan erase the memories of a multiverse? That's the only way I can think this is working. So, it's in Chapter 4, Issue 4, Walk on Water, we see a series of flashbacks as Rorschach of what became of this new Rorschach, and it's revealed to be Reggie Long, the son of the late Dr. Malcolm Long, who was in The Watchmen, who was the psychiatrist for the original Rorschach. We're all connected. It's all connected. He was at a university when his father took the job to be the original Rorschach's doctor. Was unaware of the effect that the Rorschach was having on his father, whose condition is kept secret by his mother. When war between the United States and the Soviet Union seemed imminent, Reggie drove down to New York City to evacuate his parents. A car crash on the way into the city spares Reggie from the New York City massacre, though he's driven nearly insane by the incident and is committed to a mental asylum. The treatment proves fruitless, and one night Reggie escapes to commit suicide by throwing itself off the rooftop. However, when he reaches the roof, he encounters a naked man standing in the corner. When he asks him if he was going to jump, the man replies that he's going to fly. As security closes in, Reggie is stunned when the man flies on a pair of makeshift wings. The next day, Reggie meets the man again, and he identifies himself as Baron Lewis, the former Mothman. He makes frequent escapes and is always recaptured, each time smuggling contraband into the asylum. The two quickly become friends. Learning of Reggie's background, Brian delivers a package of his father's belongings. The initial report of Rorschach among them. The rest of the reports are implied to have been destroyed by Baron. When a sadistic orderly breaks his father's mug, Reggie is taught by Baron how to fight, teaching him the skills of the Minutemen. At the same time, Reggie starts to develop an admiration for Rorschach, aka the man who almost could have destroyed their family. So then, it's revealed that eventually Ozymandias' plan is revealed, what he did to just New York City. Reggie then finally says, so this wasn't an accident, this was your fault. So then he vows to get his revenge. He and Byron escape, burning down the asylum and fleeing. However, as they leave, Byron hallucinates and walks into the fire and dies. He leaves behind a bag containing food, water, a ticket to the Arctic, and a map to Karnak, and a Rorschach's mask. He dons on it to confront Ozymandias. When they meet, and Ozymandias is actually asking that if you kill me, can I be thankful that you do it quick and painless? And Reggie is surprised to find to find Ozymandias remorseful over his actions as he confronts his own mortality. Reggie agrees, reluctantly to set aside his grudge and work with Ozymandias to save what was left of the world. And back in the present, also known as the DC Universe, Reggie is detained in Arkham Asylum as a John Doe. He quickly gets into a violent confrontation between guards and prisoners alike. Reggie is interviewed by Dr. Matthew Manson about his identity and his background, but Reggie says nothing. As Reggie plans his escape, he is suddenly aided by a Jane Doe, in reality, the time-displaced Satin Girl, and the two flee Arkham together. Unbeknownst to them, they are monitored by both Batman, who believed Reggie's story but knew him to be unstable, and is seemingly Dr. Manhattan himself. Oh boy. So Batman believed Reggie's story, okay, but knew him to be unstable. Okay, Batman, that's the pot calling the kettle black, because someone can claim that you're insane for your crime waves, for your vigilantism, if people knew who you were. So, yeah, will you just shut up? Like, seriously, I think a lot of and aren't your former Justice League members kind of crazy themselves when you consider that there's a lot of members who have tragic pasts? So, what makes Reggie to be more insane than himself? Because he tortures people? Well, Batman, you should know in Identity Crisis your mind was wiped. Remember that? You had your memory erased of the 10 minutes after you discovered what they did to Dr. Light. So, yeah. So, anyways. We get to issue 5, saying that there is no God when Ozymandias is in the hospital following his battle with the comedian. Sedated, he is examined by the doctors who find it remarkable he has sustained so low injuries from the fall. One of the doctors states that she believes that he should be sedated for a couple of more hours, during which the police intend to turn him over to federal authorities because they believe he's a metahuman, because there's no godly way a human can survive that fall without having powers. Did being resourceful just not count in the definition anymore? I think being resourceful can be considered a human trait, and I do think there are people that can survive getting injuries unless they do it safely enough. Well, I could be wrong. I'm just thinking with comic book logic. So anyways, he awakens mere minutes later, overpowers the police, and recovers his personal artifacts and flees. He returns to the Owl ship, discovering that Mime and Marionette are missing, and Batman waiting for him in the cockpit. Batman informs him that Rorschach is off the grid, and then demands to know what Ozymandias really wants with their world, not believing to his claims to altruism. The police surround the Owl ship, and they are forced to take off. In flight, while evading police pursuers, Ozymandias is blaming him for the ongoing chaos around the world, and the two engage in a heated debate about their role as heroes in the world. This is actually pretty much the best scene in the comic so far, because here's the thing. Ozymandias begins to use lethal force against their pursuers, the police. Batman struggles with him to control it, and the craft spirals out of control, and Batman is thrown into a crowd featuring a massive crowd of anti-vigilante protesters below, who quickly turn violent and beat Batman senseless as he struggles to escape, unwilling to fight back against innocent people who have every reason to believe why he should stop. So, yeah, I like this scene between Ozymandias and Batman. Like, Batman believes in doing what's right, Ozymandias believes he was doing what's right, and Batman blaming him for all the chaos in the world. I was like, oh, wait, is this going to end up like what happened in Infinite Crisis, where Power Girl accuses of Alexander Luthor and Superboy Prime when she thought that because their interference in the history of the world, it led to all the dark stuff, and turns out it's not the case? Yeah, this is what basically Ozymandias is doing. He's trying to tell Batman that, no, I had nothing to do with this. You guys screwed it up on your own. Which, honestly, it would be making more sense. Or you could make the argument Dr. Manhattan's causing all this chaos, which is understandable. Like, if Ozymandias told Batman that in one universe you're actually a comic book character and don't really exist, That would be like a slap to the face to Batman, I think. I don't know. Like, I think Batman would be kind of pissed off if his world was, if he found out that his parents dying was because possibly a comic book writer wrote it that way, and now he has to live a life that one guy who's claiming to be from the world. I think Batman would go into a rage. I'm not saying he would kill Ozymandias. It is possible he could go into a rage and cross that line, but it's still 50-50 shot. So, anyways, an international incident occurs in Russia where American superheroes Hawk and Dove were arrested following a botched attempt to apprehend some separatists responsible for a terrorist attack in St. Petersburg. They come into conflict with Rocket Red Brigade, a metahuman Russian military unit, and were promptly detained amidst the heightened tensions over the Superman theory. Superhero Poser announced that the Russian Federation is closing its borders to all foreigners. The Russian president then unveils the people's hero. A team of government-employed Russian superheroes, including Pozar, I'm not going to pronounce it, announces to the world that no one should underestimate the Russian Federation. Similar actions are taken by the government of Britain, France, Israel, India, and China as nuclear weapons are supplemented worldwide in favor of metahuman armies. Adding to the tension, Black Adam, leader of the Middle Eastern nation of whatever, I can't pronounce it, and one of the world's most powerful metahumans, launches a one-man military intervention into Syria to rescue an American journalist, Jack Ryder, from a terrorist group known as King Cobra. After both America and Russia announced full military withdrawal from the Middle East, he then issues an open-ended invitation to all metahumans around the world, offering them asylum. Oh yeah, that's gonna go well with the public. So now we get to Daily Planet. Lois Lane is arguing with her editor Perry White about his inclusion of the word metahuman in her reporting of the attack on Luthor, despite there being no evidence of any metahuman involvement. White defends his decision, knowing that the world's faith in superheroes is faltering, and that if she wants to restore their faith, she needs to prove them wrong. She storms out of his office in anger, mentioning how basically, okay, can we not make him the godfather of our kid? So you have a kid. Yeah, I know they have a kid. I'm trying to remember the kid's name, but she goes ahead and basically says, can we change that? Like, bad. So yeah, John Kent is the son of Superman and Lois Lane. Yeah, here's a theory I have. This might be very debatable at the end, but I'm just gonna say this first. Dr. Manhattan's name is John, in the same letter or spelling. When Lois says John, she says it with Jon in the dialogue. Dr. Manhattan's original name was John with a Jon. Now I'm just going crazy in this theory, but considering that the DC Comics has Batman hate rock and roll because reasons that are never explained, anything is possible about what I will say. So, Lois and Superman decide to investigate the origins of the Superman theory in the hopes of averting a global catastrophe. Lois secures an interview with Lex at the hospital where he's recovering. Lex claims he was targeted because he was himself investigating the Department of Metahuman Affairs, the supposed government agency at the center of it, and discovered that its leader is himself a superhero. Superman listening in is disguised when Luthor claims that they were once a member of the Justice League. And then Johnny Thunder escapes his retirement community after reading about a mysterious green fire which destroyed the All-American Steel Factory in Petersburg. Making its way there, he realizes that the workers must have attempted to melt down the power battery belonging to the original Green Lantern, Alan Scott, one of Johnny's missing comrades and friends from the Justice Society of America. He is attacked basically by heroin addicts squatting on the property, and while fleeing finds the battery. The addicts catch up and attempt to beat him to death with the battery. Yeah, only to be intercepted by Rorschach, who brutally dispatches them as Sandgirl arrives and comforts Johnny, while Rorschach recovers the battery and asks, what the hell is this? Mime and Marionette cut a bloody path through Gotham searching for the Joker, unknowingly pursued by Blake. One of the Joker's thugs reveals that the Clown Prince of Crime is launching an attack on the Gotham City Police Department at midnight, taking advantage of the ongoing protest to destroy the bat signal on the roof. Arriving at the specified time, they find the police crippled and watch as the signal is pushed by the rooftop as Ozymandias makes evasive maneuvers in the skies and around them. Initially finding the situation romantic, because I can imagine Harley Quinn also saying that. They are publicly interrupted by the Joker himself, who is none too pleased to see them. He is quickly distracted, however, when his henchmen drive the unconscious Batman onto the roof. Oh boy. So let's get into the nitty gritty of all this. These first 5 issues, they're pretty freaking awesome. Like, I've loved this so far. Like, I don't know if Alan Moore would have done it like this. I think he probably would have done it differently. There's a huge chance on that. But really, that's ultimately Alan Moore's subjectiveness, so the way he thinks about it. But as for this is so far looking pretty good. We're nearing the halfway point, since there's still 6 to 12 issues. There's 6 through 12 issues left, because this is a 12-issue series. So we're nearing the halfway point. And yeah. Okay, the artwork is fantastic. I can imagine it being related to the Watchmen universe, more like it's an updated design of the style Dave Gibson did. But I will ask, there is this theory going around, like, it is basically confirmed at this point that he did create the New 52, but considering how Watchmen says that their universe, they have the characters in comic book form, like our world, what if Dr. Manhattan didn't just create the New 52? It's a theory going around that Dr. Manhattan created the entire DC universe, which means he would be practically to blame for the Infinite Crisis saga, the Crisis on Infinite Earths, Darkseid, the New Gods, the Old Gods, Maxwell lore, all these chaotic events that happen in the DC universe, the creation of superheroes and supervillains, because all of them seem to be converging on a similar path towards destruction like the Watchmen universe is becoming now. Yeah, it seems to be going that way. Like, think about it. The Watchmen were disbanded, aka the Minutemen, after the government passed a law in the Watchmen universe. And in the DC universe, there's the government trying to make superheroes and supervillains to keep a global balance. So, yeah. And the only one they trust is basically the kind of same thing. Like, Dr. Manhattan is used by the government. Superman is basically is trusted by the people. Kind of a huge opposite here. And they're hinting that they might be doing a fight between Dr. Manhattan and Superman, which could be interesting. But at the same time, it's like, okay, won't that just result in the complete destruction of the entire universe? I think that would. But, like, yeah. I do like the idea between Dr. Manhattan and Superman being, because there is an interesting dichotomy here. Superman is an alien who embodies and is compassionate for humanity. Dr. Manhattan is a humanity who has detached himself from it because of his power of godness. And Jeff Johns says this is his most personal, most epic, and most utterly mind-bending story he's ever done in his career, which does look true, because and they did say there's going to be no tie-in material. And it will have an effect on everything going on forward for the DC Universe and everything that's come before. And so by the time the issue ends, the universe will have caught up to it, and, well, a lot of things are going to be different. The series is scheduled to end in July 2019, so I will be around for a while with these talking about these comics, since, well, Darth Vader is not doing so well for me, to a major extent. I'll get back to that when I can. But, yeah, Doomsday Clock, these first 5 issues, they were pretty awesome. I can't wait to see where this all goes. A lot of people seem to enjoy it. Like, I think that just one problem that people have is that it's not Alan Moore's vision, probably. I think that's going to be the one issue people have with it. But, yeah. Doomsday Clock looks like it's going somewhere. I think it's going to go... Here's my other theory about Dr. Manhattan. His name is John. Lois and Clark's son is named John, and they have the same spelling name that you go with. Who's to say that John might be Dr. Manhattan in disguise? Like, we never see their son at all, and we never see them in the beginning. We would think they would. So is John secretly Dr. Manhattan, like he somehow impregnated into Lois through Superman or something like that? Okay, yeah, I know I'm going crazy on this theory, but just think for one moment. This is an industry that had a Marvel chapter where Captain Marvel is pregnant from a guy who's into her, which is disturbing for all the reason. And I'm still wondering how that happened in Marvel editorial because Linkar talked about that talked about it in his review. So yeah, Doomsday Clock is looking pretty awesome so far. I hope to see the other characters we come to know. Like we've seen Batman, we see Superman, we see Sandgirl, we've seen the characters that people haven't seen in decades since the Crisis on Infinite Earths event, I believe. But I am curious to know, will Wonder Woman be in this? Because I know they said they had to look for the two smartest people on the planet, but wouldn't it be great to get Superman to help out? Because Batman's paranoid at times, and Lex Luthor is Lex Luthor. So yeah, I would think like wouldn't Wonder Woman like want to use this? Like I get Wonder Woman would probably use the rope to get like information out of Ozymandias to explain in order to get the truth out of him, because that's what the lasso of truth can do. And Superman would probably try to use his try to detect his heartbeat. Like I think they would ask a lot of questions, and probably would want them arrested because one, Rorschach is kind of insane, just like the original Rorschach is, and Ozymandias is a mass murderer who believes he did what was right. So yeah, Doomsday Clock issues 1 through 5 are completed. I can't wait to see where this is going. And this was a longer comic video of it, so yeah, we might not see something like this again for a while unless I'm really late to a party on something. But yeah, those were our thoughts on DC's Doomsday Clock chapter issues 1 through 5. This was Neo Reality Entertainment. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and donate to for more.